It is one thing to know about God, it's another thing to experience God. Two very different things. And I can speak from both sides of it. And we are going to unpack that today, because when you experience God, it's a much different thing than just knowing who he is. Okay? Before we get into it, welcome in or welcome back if this is your first time here. My name is Taylor and I make videos on practical faith, practicing self-love, and preserving your temples. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe to let me know. You can even leave your thoughts below. Now, without further ado, let's get into what you came for. What am I even talking about? Experiencing God is not the same thing as knowing him. I'm so glad you asked. I'm glad you're intrigued. We are going to find the answer in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 18 through 19. I'm going to start by reading the scripture, and then I'm going to break down what it actually means, and then I'm going to get into practical life lessons that would apply to your life today. I only have 3 today, so if that sounds like a plan, stay tuned, my friend, because we are about to uncover it, okay? Shall we get started? I think so. Join me, friends, in Ephesians chapter 3, starting at verse 18, where it reads, we are in the middle of a sentence, by the way, where it reads, may be able to comprehend with all the saints what is the length and width, height and depth of God's love, and to know Christ's love that surpasses knowledge, so that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. You don't even know. Paul just said a thing, okay? Let's get into what Paul was yapping about with that little line, okay? Now, I am going to be reading from my notes, because if I try to do this from memory, I'm going to mess it up. You're welcome. Okay, what is Paul talking about? Let me hit you with this angle for today. Paul is continuing a prayer for believers where he has already asked that they be strengthened by the Holy Spirit, allowing God's agape love to become what gives the believer internal stability and endurance for their journey. Here, Paul is saying that when you are rooted and grounded in God's agape love, you are able to experience Christ's limitless and unmeasurable love, something that cannot simply be studied or understood intellectually. To experience God's love is to begin to understand its dimensions. You understand its width, that it is wide enough to include everyone. You understand its length, that it lasts forever, stretching into both the past and the future. You understand its depth, that it reaches us at our lowest points when we fall into sin, feel shame, or experience brokenness. And you understand the height of God's love, how it lifts us out of our brokenness, places us into a heavenly identity, and gives us purpose. Paul prays that believers would not put God's love in a box, because God's love cannot be fully known intellectually. Instead, it surpasses knowledge in the sense that it's understood more deeply through relationship with him, surrender to him, and daily experience of walking with him. When you live rooted in this love, you become increasingly aligned with God's character, power, love, and purpose. The more you are shaped by his love, the more room God has to transform you further. This fullness of God flows into the heart of the believer who understands that God's love is boundless and all-encompassing. Man, that's some heavy stuff, some deep stuff. Let's get into the lessons that break this down more and also help you apply it to your life. I only got 3 today. Starting with number 1. Stop striving and receive strength and growth from God's love. When your foundation is rooted in God's love, you realize you don't need to rely on your own effort for endurance, maturity, or growth. So have you heard of the saying, let go and let God? Yeah, Like when you are experiencing something and you're just trying to think your way out of a situation. You're trying to think your way to something better. The more strain you place on yourself of trying to figure it out, the harder it feels, the heavier it feels on you. Well, the whole time, all you need to do is give it to God and wait. Be still. Let him give you the answer. It will just come to you. And that is God. The saying, let go and let God, literally, let go of what's stressing you out. Let God handle it. Let go of what is weighing on you. Let God give you the answer. Let go of not knowing where to go. Let God give you direction. Let God guide you. Let God help you. Let God answer for you. Let God fight for you. Let God give you peace. Let go of trying to handle everything on your own. Let go of trying to make yourself a better you. Let go of trying to become more than what you are right now, and let God do the heavy labor of doing all those things. Let God transform you from the inside out. Let God plant the seeds in you and water you so you can grow. Let God help guide your choices and decisions so you can get to where you're trying to go. Let God do the work, okay? Stop striving to do things on your own, through your own effort. The more you try to make things shake, the worse things get. Trust me, I know. Okay? Every time I try to fix a situation, I strain myself, I piss myself off because typically it takes a lot of effort and I don't really get the result I'm really looking for. But every time I say, whatever, literally, whatever, let's see what happens. I don't care. As soon as I start hitting those little lines, I give it to God. I go to him in prayer and say, this is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on. And then I genuinely feel lighter. I genuinely feel lighter, and God always gives me the answer. And I'm going to dive more into that in the second lesson. Let's move on. Number 2, God's love is best experienced through relationship. Allow God to love you beyond your limits and watch how he moves in your life. The experience will surpass knowledge. You ever heard that saying that the Lord will give you peace beyond understanding? It is so true. Going back to like my own experience, when you give things to God, and I mean really give it to him raw, you're never disrespectful, but you are able to speak to God freely. He already knows what's going on in your heart and in your mind. So you might as well just say it out your lips. You might as well write, if you need to write your prayer down, do that. But you give it to God. You tell him exactly what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, how you're looking at it, how you're interpreting, what effect it's having on you. Pour it out, give it to God. And it brings you so much peace to let it go. Do you know how much power goes into just saying something out loud? I'm telling you, it's a very powerful thing. Or if you write an actual pen or pencil and you write it down, energetic release. So much goes into just letting it out. But if you address your letter to God, you address your prayer to God, and you give it to him, that creates intimacy because you're letting him into a part of your life where you need help, especially in a way you're not going to go to anybody else. You're supposed to bring your problems to God, your Father. You have a relationship with God where you can be real with him and let him know exactly what you're going through and how you're feeling about it. Because first of all, he already knows. He just wants you to come tell him yourself in your own words. And you do that, and it's like a wave of peace. Literally a wave of peace. Literally right now, what I'm struggling with is I'm in a very unhealthy cycle right now. I'm not eating good. I haven't been working out, which is why you don't see no preserving the your temple videos on my body, because I haven't been working out. And I have been eating bad, and I've been struggling with managing my time because there's so much I want to do in my mind, but then there's only but so many hours in the day, and I'm still working an actual full-time job. And then some days I just don't feel great, so my feelings are just taking up a lot of space, because if I don't feel great, there's certain things I can't do. Like if I'm not having the best day, I'm not going to make a video. That can cause some strain because I make videos every day. So if I don't have necessarily a backlog, it can cause some strain. There's just a lot of tension that be going on, especially in my life right now, where I'm in a waiting season, and the waiting season feels very draining some days. Man, this week the waiting season really, it hit an all-time high. Let me tell you what I was dealing with this week. I'm in a waiting season where I want content creation to be the thing that supports my living. I don't want to go to my corporate job no more. And I feel like the Lord has made that available for me, but now I'm in a waiting season of getting to where I know I can be and what I'm actually living right now, which is where I'm going to my actual job. And because I don't want to be at my actual job anymore, you know, my attitude starts going down, especially when they start doing things that get on my nerves. I'm like, I shouldn't even be here no more. So just the fact that I still have to keep showing up to my job, that was draining me this week. And this was a week where they was getting on my nerves. So that was getting on my nerves. Then to add insult to injury, my mother's gonna call me up and tell me she's not paying for my phone anymore and I need to get my own line. I said, what else? My student loans want me to start making payments. I said, what else? What else? And then it's like all of that was compounded because now I'm something within my control. I have not been eating well because I haven't had time to cook and shop, or rather I just didn't want to. So I've been eating out a lot. So now that's also played a role because now I'm not feeling that internal support. All of this, it has been a heavy week. Yesterday, I gave it to the Lord. I gave it to the Lord in prayer. I let him know what was going on. I asked him for help getting out of it. Amazing how he renewed my mind today. I had so much peace and joy again today. I said, Lord, this is why I give it all to you, because he always restores me. And it's not something you can understand. And it's not something you can understand intellectually, which is why that relationship with God is so important. You build that intimacy with him by laying it out in detail for him. And he gives you peace, and then he'll fix it. It might not happen immediately, but you have peace knowing you gave it to your Father and he will work it out in time. You have peace. Riley! You have peace, okay? Even in the midst of chaos, you just have this underlying peace that from a human perspective, you'll look at your situation and be like, I don't even understand how you have peace. How are you not crashing out? But it's peace beyond understanding. That's literally what I have. As of today, like I showed up so happy to work today. Knowing I still don't want to be there, but now I just have, the Lord has unlocked a different perspective for me. And that is what has brought me peace, because now I'm looking at my entire situation in a different way. And that is what the Lord can do for you. He will unlock things in your mind you wasn't thinking about before that helps give you the endurance to get through different situations. So your relationship with the Lord, building that intimacy with the Lord is paramount. It's something you have to feel. It's something you have to experience, because you're not going to understand it logically, because logically, intellectually, you're still looking at your very real situation. Nothing about your situation necessarily changed, which is why intellectually you can't understand why you have peace. But you have peace because of what you feel inside, what the Lord has allowed you to feel inside that just gives you this peace, a baseline. It's something you have to experience. You're not going to be able to get this by reading it in a book. You're not going to be able to get this by watching a bunch of videos online. You have to build that relationship with the Lord so that he can allow you to feel that way. And it's something that is best experienced through relationships. So it's not enough to just know God. You have to know God, okay? Let's move on to the last lesson. God's love can meet you in brokenness and lift you into purpose. God's love reaches believers at their lowest points and fills them with his character, power, and purpose, leading to transformation and spiritual fullness. The Lord has, my walk with the Lord, funny enough, I got baptized many years ago, 2018. And although I got baptized, I don't feel like I guess that was me inviting the Lord in, but after getting baptized, I don't feel like my relationship with the Lord really started up serious until 2024. I think 2024, that's when I actually opened the Bible for myself and started seeking understanding. That's when I started trying to figure out what this book is saying. And I wasn't relying on just videos I was watching. I wasn't just relying on a verse I would see on social media every now and again. No. In 2024, that's when I started seeking the Lord for real. But that was also when I was in my toxic relationship. And I didn't get out of that relationship until after I had started the walk. But when I got out of the relationship, that is when I was at my lowest. Literally, I've already spoke about it in a few other videos, so we're not going to talk about it in this video. But essentially, I was in a very bad place. And that is where the Lord met me. That was a breeding ground of intimacy for my relationship with the Lord, because I was at my lowest. I felt very alone. I felt very vulnerable. I felt very confused. I felt very lost. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I had made so many poor decisions. I didn't know what my life was going to turn into. I was worried about so many different things. But the Lord called me in that space and saved my life, literally. And it's in that brokenness He found me, and then started working on me, started transforming me, and then got me to a place where He could turn those ashes to beauty. Because there's the birth of my Mourn Then Embrace transformational guide, which I still have not released, but it is coming soon. And when it does, I pray the girlies that need it receive it, okay? But turning my brokenness into purpose, something that I really thought was going to take a girl out, the Lord has used it. Now I get to help other women get out of a situation similar. Turning something that literally used to cause me so much pain, and now there's purpose in it. Can use it to glorify God, because this is not the version of me that was here a few years ago, okay? I am a living, breathing testimony, okay? And that's why I go off from my God, because you could not have told me I would be here. Like this mind space where I am physically, like my whole life. You couldn't have told me this is what my life would be like. And that is the Lord. That transformation. The Lord will meet you in a broken place. He will transform you. And then He will use that very thing that almost took you out, because it didn't take you out. He will use that thing that almost took you out for your purpose, so that you can help other people get out of where you just got out of. Or so you can be someone that gives these other people hope to get out of whatever they're dealing with. It's a very beautiful thing to have a relationship with the Lord, to see how He will use certain things, to see what He will unlock in your mind. The mind is so powerful. The mind is where your reality is created. You have to think it before you live it, which is why you can have peace, even though your reality is telling you one thing, but in your mind, you already see the next season. And then you start taking actions to get to the next season. You know, it's only but a matter of time. You know. And I think it's very powerful for me to be talking about this in my video right now, because as of right now, I'm a regular person. I mean, I'm always going to be a regular person, but I'm speaking on it before it ever happens. So when it does happen, it's going to give this moment. It's going to give God so much glory for me to be talking about it right now, because in a few years, we're going to look back and say, dang, the Lord did that. What did we learn today? You can't live in God's fullness until you learn to receive God's love. Go ahead and open up your heart and let Him in, because that's where the real transformation is going to begin. And, drops mic, because that was a bar. Thank you so much for listening. I pray this message blessed you. I hope it inspired you in some way. Go ahead and give me a like if you appreciated the message, and if it did something for you. Go ahead and leave it in the comments, any of your thoughts, what you're dealing with, what you feel like. If you had an experience where you used to just know who He is and now you feel who He is, go ahead and put in the comments what that transition was like for you. I would love to hear your stories, and giving me some likes and comments supports the channel. Go ahead and help my channel grow. I just told you what my goals are. Hello, get me out of my 9 to 5. Thank you. If you are interested in a 2025 faith-based affirmational calendar or a Drink the Living Water cup, go ahead and check out my Etsy shop, which will be linked in the description below. This does come in 5 different colors. It comes in blue, purple, pink, green, and yellow. So if you are interested, like I said, the link is in the description below. Thank you for spending this time with me. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support my channel. We are trying to get me out of this corporate job. Thank you in advance, okay? Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope to see you here tomorrow. We drop videos every single day as we are tiptoeing through Ephesians. We are getting in this word and applying it to our daily lives, and we can do it together. Unity. Thank you and see you tomorrow. Bye.